Hello! Welcome to Hooked by Happenstance Makes Monday, Episode 2, Pieced. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the word pieced. I think it sums up my week and my week's makings fairly well. The word pieced is the past tense of the verb piece. It has most recently been part of Middle English, but it came from Old French, which came from Latin, which came from some obscure ultimate origin, but the word pieced has been around a really long time. And it has a couple of definitions. The first is to assemble something from individual parts, slowly make sense of something from separate facts and pieces of evidence. The second definition is to extend, and the third definition is to patch, as in piecework. So, I thought this was telling because I'm trying to piece things together right now. That's really the time in my crafty making life that I'm in. It has been a week of trying to piece together this channel and figure out how to make that work. And sometimes it doesn't all go according to plan. Like this video is going to go up late because I did not feel well this morning and I prioritized taking a nap this afternoon over filming when I probably should have filmed. But my head was just not feeling well enough to do that, and now I'm feeling better, and now there's a cat. Now I'm feeling much better and much more pieced together, and my thoughts are a little bit more coherent, so that is good. Also, you will see in the things that I made this week that piecing was involved, piecing together designs, and taking all those disparate parts of my brain and creative thought and smooshing them together in a way that hopefully turns into something beautiful. Straight up pieces, because I have a lot of pieces, more pieces than whole parts to show you. So that is where I came up with this week's title. So now we're going to move along to what is on my hook. First thing on my hook is actually about to hop right off it. It's actually off the hook. It's now on the I need to weave in the ends, but I figure if I don't consider that not done, then I probably won't finish it. I mean, I will, because this is going to be a pattern design, which I hope to release shortly. I had left the ends the way they were, though, because I've been hemming and hawing over whether or not the edging is the way that I want it. And I think I finally decided that it is. So this is going to be the finished way it looks. I just need to go ahead and make the changes. I think the finished title of this is going to be the Texture Box Throw. It is a blanket I have designed, and hopefully will have the pattern up on my website in the next 2 weeks. So I just need to take pictures and fully finish crafting the pattern. But this is what it looks like. And I made this using a size N hook, which is a big hook. And I actually don't have an ergonomic hook that is in that size. And I also, I just really don't like my N hook. I do have, for a long time I only had Susan Bates N hooks, and I don't like Susan Bates hooks. They just don't work for the motion of my wrist. Susan Bates hooks tend to catch with everything except Lion Brand homespun. On that yarn, a Bates hook is the only thing that works for me. But I like the boy hooks, and actually my preferred hook is to use the Tulip Etimo, with the gray handles and the gold heads. They also have pink handles. The pink handles are easier to find. The gray ones are harder to come by. I did manage to find myself a set on Amazon and have been very, very happy with it. Gotta excuse my cats. They are making all the noises in this room right now. This throw is made out of the Premier Yarn Sweet Rolls in the Spearmint colorway. I've had varying problems with that particular batch of Sweet Rolls. I had more knots in them than I've had previously. I had a weird color change. They've kind of annoyed me, but I get that you just never know. And I've used some other colors and not had problems. In this particular colorway, I had more issues. So I'm going to continue to try them out because I do have some more that I've purchased. And I will keep you up to date on my findings. Potentially it's a color issue. Maybe it's not. Actually, the yarn that I have had the most experience with and the least number of knot problems with is Red Heart Super Saver. Because that is what I primarily use, because I primarily make toys, and that is awesome for toys, especially for sale, because, well, Red Heart Super Saver is going to survive the apocalypse. So it's a workhorse yarn that is not going to have any problems. Well, I guess unless you apply an iron to it. But if you're ironing your toys, you have some kind of problem that I just can't fix for you. Next thing on my hook is the Cheeky Little Monkey by Julie Erskine of heartandsew.co.uk. I have made multiples of this monkey pattern, but I've always made them in this standard brown. And I really, really like it with the buff and the cafe latte. But I decided I was going to mix it up a little. And to match this throw, I'm starting to make a monkey in these greens. This is a jade, Red Heart Super Saver in jade, and a different light green color. I don't have the ball band for this one anymore, so I don't remember what it's called. But I think they look really nice together, and I actually have all the parts together. You may have seen I had the arms, legs, and tails on my fingers and a picture on Instagram this week. If you're not, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram at HookedByHappenstance. And I also have made all of the parts for a purple monkey as well from the very same pattern. This is, I know for sure this is Dark Orchid, and I don't have the ball band for this one anymore, but I'm very certain that it is Orchid. And those are Red Heart Super Saver again, and I used a G-hook on all of these as I do on all of my toys. So I'm really happy with how they're turning out. I just need to sew them together. My process for toys is that I usually just start making parts. I take this bag that I have made, and it's very spacious. You can fit a 1-pound skein on end, and it doesn't even feel like there's a whole third of the bag almost left, and then you can put things on top. And it's super sturdy because this is extra heavyweight interfacing in this one. And I also made my little charms and stuff. But I make the parts and I just throw them all in this bag and I fill it up to the top, and when it's full I start taking them out and piecing the toys together, because I find that when I do multiple toys pieced at once, I do a better job of my sewing because I'm just in that rhythm. It takes a little bit to kind of warm up your sewing rhythm, and then, you know, it's nice to get to use it a little before it runs out. Next thing that's on my hook are pieces to dolls. This is the standard girl doll pattern I use. It's called BB Dolls by Vanja Grundmann. I'll put all the information right here. And I have actually changed the proportions on this pattern. This is the first girl doll pattern that I kind of really latched onto. But I think that the BB doll is supposed to be a reference to like Bratz dolls. And the head, which I made a number of this week, made 4 of them. The heads are fairly like nice sized. Now at pattern, the body ends up smaller with like a giant head, which is why I think it's supposed to replicate a Bratz doll. And I just don't quite care for that look, so I have changed the proportions a bit to plump up the body of the doll. They still have a kind of large head, but it is all vaguely in proportion, and I think they turn out pretty cute. So I have made, while I had the yarns out for the monkeys, I just decided to go ahead and make dolls that coordinated. So I have this one right here. Here's her little arms, which I will attach to the dress, which go on the body. And these haven't been stuffed yet because they were all shoved in my bag. So I did that, and I also have some brown hair made, which will go on the head of the doll. So that one has all of its things done. Then I have another doll in the purple where I have started the body. I have yet to make the dress or the arms or the hair, but I have a head for it. So I'm kind of just working my way through that. I had, at one point, kind of thought I was going to finish sewing these together, like push myself actually to get it done, so I'd have more things to show you that were completed. And I decided that I have done that before, and it becomes this constant state of burnout and inability to keep up. Like, I need to try and, even if I'm going to show you my progress weekly, I want to try and do it at a manageable rate. I can be fairly prolific. Excuse the cat sneezes. I can be fairly prolific in my crocheting, and I can be fairly prolific for a number of weeks in a row, but it's not practical to do that every week. And this week, it was just not in the cards to get things all the way completed, and I am learning to be fine with that. This is a process. on the figuring out how to film all these things and edit all these things and make all these things and do all the parts and things that I'm enjoying and still have like a life and 3 kids and a family and a house and all the things that I do on top of it. So, and not feeling super great either. So, I'm trying my best. And I decided that pieces was fine. This week I'm pieces. Pieces as part of a finished product that will come eventually. And I'm just gathering pieces right now in all those areas of my life, and they will eventually become a thing. I figure this is kind of one of those, I was thinking about it a lot last night, how I talk a lot about being a product crafter or a process crafter, and sometimes you really want the end game item. And so you will go through a very unjoyful process to get there to have that finished item. And sometimes what you need is just the making. That's therapeutic, or just scratches some wonderful itch, or just makes you smile, or is a break from whatever, or any other number of things that are good for you. And that process is important. And sometimes that means you can make it and you can just frog it right away, and it doesn't matter because you got what you needed out of that time and that activity. And when you're trying to get to that product, that's not the case. And so I'm trying to take all the Hooked by Happenstance things and all of the creative fun that I'm having and enjoy the end product, because that is a lot of it, but I want to enjoy the process too. And trying to like massage that process into something that is sustainable. So that's why you get pieces today. But I did finish something. I have one thing off my hook. But some of you may have already seen this. This is the Fuzzy Little Friends pattern by Janet McMahon. I spelled her name wrong in the video. It does not have an A. It's just McMahon, MC. But all that's right here. And it's made out of Red Heart Super Saver in black and bright yellow. And the white is Red Heart with Love metallic in the color white, so it's got a kind of a white little metallic in it. These are super cute. These are, at my craft shows, they're one of those things where when they sit on the table, people just can't help touching them. I think this would be a really nice thing to have like sit on your desk. Just makes people feel good, something fun to handle. It's cute. Or a baby toy, obviously. The only thing that's attached are these 2 wings. The rest of it's all in one part. And the wings attach like very, very securely. So there'd be something for the kid to like play with, but not that you'd have to worry that they're going to hurt themselves. I have that worry a lot. I don't like putting safety eyes on things because I worry that people are going to choke. So that's why I sew all my eyes on. Sit up, my fuzzy friend. Lean against the alligator. You can see my toys are still up here. I did an Etsy update yesterday, and I haven't taken them down yet, but they're cute, so they're just going to stay there today. Would like to vote on what I'm going to make for my Speedy Stitches Saturday for next week, June 3rd, because this coming week I'm going to make a fish. But the following week, if you'd like to vote, there is a poll up here. There's like a little eye in the sky. You can click on it, and it'll bring down a poll for you. Here are 3 choices. We're going to keep the last 2 that we had last week. So bookmark, piece of pie, or a flower, like a brooch. So let me know what you would like to see me make. I know they're all slightly smaller projects, but I think the fish is going to be a slightly larger project, so I need to balance those out. Also, in the comments, if you want to leave me any ideas you have for future Speedy Stitches, either just types of items, or if there are specific patterns, preferably free, that you would like to see me Speedy Stitch, let me know. Okay, so moving along to my last section, which I have not talked about yet. Strung Out. Projects that are intentionally long. I have a lot of projects that become languishing whips. Projects that go on and on and on. Indefinitely, unintentionally, either because they've been put in the naughty corner or because I lose interest in them or whatever. But there are some projects that are intentionally long. And this is my current one. My Scrap Stash Blanket. Now, I use mostly acrylic yarn, as you know, and I end up with a lot of, by the end of those skeins, because I like fairly large put-ups. Everything turns into yarn barf, and then I make it into a ball, and I put those balls in a basket. Well, I have a lot of those balls, and I do use the scraps, but at some point I end up with scraps that are too small for a lot of things, and just too small to keep track of in a lot of ways. So what I did is I made this basket of balls this winter, balled up all my yarn that was barfing all over the place, and then I weighed it all, and I took all those 20-gram balls that I have, and I put them into this bag that I have made. So there's a bunch of like different colored balls in there. There's also this little bag in here, which I had gotten from somewhere, and when I cut the ends off, I just shoved them in here, so I have like a little trash bag with me. And there's usually a pair of scissors in here, but I think I have stolen them for another purpose at the moment. But ultimately, the blanket is going to be 60 by 80, and these are 5-inch strips. So I begin each strip with 20 foundation single crochets, and then I half double crochet the rest, because half double crochet is my happy place. So that is how I'm doing this, and I am just crocheting all my ends in and then clipping them, so there will be no ends other than the ones that happen when I join the strips together. So they're 5 inches wide and they're 60 inches long, and so I'm going to need 16 of them. So I'm going to just fold these in half and show them to you so you can see what I'm working with. Here's strip number 1. And here is strip number 2. I started this winter. It shows on my Instagram account when I started. I forget. Here's strip number 2. And all of these yarns are actual scraps from things that I've made. There's no minis. There's nothing I've got from anybody else. These are my leftovers. I haven't pulled things off of balls. So it's kind of cool. Each of the pieces, like as I put them in, I remember what it is for a lot of them that I made out of them. Here's number 3, which is just kind of a fun thing, especially since most of what I make is for other people or for sale. I don't get to keep the finished product of most things. And here is strip number 4. And then over here we have a little bit of some glittery metallic. Okay, so those are the 4 strips that are done. So that's a quarter of the way through my 16 strips that I need. Oop, there went my G-hook. I'm using a G-hook, by the way. I don't remember if I said that. But here is the strip I'm working on right now. Like I said, my scissors were not in the car with me, so they have not been used. And today, while we were waiting at the chiropractor, I went from here to here. So I got all of this done in the car today. So I decided that I wanted to make a little bit more progress on this and just kind of keep up on it. And I just keep adding to the scraps. There was a little while where I was worried I was going to run out of scraps, so I kind of backed off. But clearly I have enough again, so I need to do a little work. So I want to keep the scrap stash down to what will fit in this bag as far as that goes. Obviously when I made those balls, the ones that were more than 20 grams are in a separate basket, and I still use those to make toys and stuff. I'll just grab from that. I check there first to see if I have any of what color I need before I go and get the bigger balls. For joining me today here at Hooked by Happenstance, where I got to show you all the things that I made this week and one of the things that I finished. Hope you enjoyed yourself. If you did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up so that I know you're out there. If you know somebody who would like my content and is not aware, or you are not sure if they're aware, if you would share that information, that would help me out bunches. Either via Instagram or share things on Facebook or whatever. If you let people know I exist, that would be super helpful for me. If you click over here, there is that Speedy Stitched Bee. Down below is a link to my Etsy shop where I updated with some critters, and there are crochet and knitting project bags and handmade cards. And I will see you all next week. I hope that your circumstances happen to include crochet. Bye!